Okay, my loves. I know there are a lot of you that are out there that are really wondering, how do I even set boundaries anymore? Maybe you didn't grow up with great boundaries. Maybe boundaries weren't really modeled well for you, or maybe you were told that you cannot have boundaries. Maybe you're tired of being gaslighted in your relationships, and you're tired of feeling crazy all the time and guilty for trying to make a difference in your life. If this is you, then I want you to come schedule a call with me. Let's chat about the Unashamed Image Program. The Unashamed Image Program is geared towards you specifically. I am going to be helping you in our next upcoming session of the Unashamed Image. I am personally going to train you how to not feel crazy when someone is gaslighting you, how to be able to stand your ground, to keep your boundaries intact, and to also see through the bull crap. I am also going to be teaching you how to set really confident boundaries that you can really rely on. And I'm going to help you communicate them in a way that really makes sense. Basically, I'm going to help you live a life free of shame and on your terms. If you are ready and you are done feeling all the shame and guilt for trying to set boundaries, if you are not willing to live another moment the way you are right now and in somebody else's shadow, then this is the time to schedule that call with me. It's completely free, no pressure, just love, just support. Go to www.erinandersonthetraumacoach.com. Scroll down the page to where it says, Let's Chat About Working Together. Click on that button and it'll take you to my booking page. If you're ready to live the unashamed life, schedule that call. Let's get you in the Unashamed Image Program, my loves. From my heart to your heart. Bye. Welcome to the other side of the struggle. This is a podcast where we talk about trauma, how to heal it, and then how to take it and use it to unlock your mission and your potential, and to use it to live your very best dream life. When you're dealing with betrayal trauma, it can be hard to know how to heal it, how to stop the pain, and to know what your next steps are to take in your own life. And these are the questions that we try to answer here. Trauma has the ability to rob us of our joy and identity, which is why it's so miserable to experience. But with the right tools and with the right mindset, we can totally reclaim that joy and even use this trauma to strengthen ourselves, so that way trauma does not knock us off of our joy again. Living your dream life should be a non-negotiable, but trauma tends to try to negotiate that with you. And even though trauma is not something that we will completely ever be free of in our life, the pain is negotiable. This is why I created Erin Anderson Betrayal Trauma Coaching and this podcast, is because I want my listeners, I want my clients to live, truly live free from the prison that trauma can put you in. I want you to live on the other side of the struggle. Trauma can be a beast. It has the potential to get you to believe things about yourself that just aren't true. Things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not beautiful, and the list goes on. And each one of those beliefs cause a crack in our hearts. And I get it. Going through my own betrayal trauma, these were a lot of the things that I used to think, plus many others. So when I had the meditation to see each one of those cracks as a way of healing, and not just of healing a flesh and blood heart, but the ability to heal a flesh and blood heart to gold, was transformational. And now I want to give you that exact same transformation for free. Pick up my Heart of Gold meditation. It is absolutely free, and I want to see it give you the exact same transformation that it did me. So check out the description below. Pick up the Heart of Gold meditation. The link is right there in the description. And while you're at it, don't forget to click on the Calendly link above to make sure that you schedule some one-on-one time with me to help you personally get through your betrayal trauma. All right, with that, let's listen to this week's episode. Hey, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of The Other Side of the Struggle. And this week we were actually going to have Kyson on with us talking about how we can be grateful for things that we would naturally not be grateful. Like our brain is saying, what are you thinking? Why are you grateful for this, right? But he deserves some congratulations this week because him and his wife welcomed, I should say, a new little member to their family. So congratulations to Kyson and his cute wife. And many blessings to their sweet little family. So I'm flying solo this week and discussing this topic about how we can be grateful for things that everything inside of us screams we can't be grateful for that thing. So to get into this concept, let's first talk about what happens to the brain when someone experiences trauma. So the first thing that happens is your body sends adrenaline and neurochemicals to your brain. It puts a picture there in your brain, and then it kind of keeps you on an emotional loophole. And when your emotions are constantly tied to that, the next thing your brain does is it's like, you don't want to go through this again. It could cause even more pain because our brain is really, really smart. It knows that it wants to avoid pain at all costs because too much pain eventually leads to some kind of a death. Okay? So think about that for a second. Now, emotional trauma doesn't necessarily mean that your body will stop functioning on its own, but I do know for a fact that it does affect you physically. It affects you mentally, it affects you emotionally, it affects you spiritually, and all of those four main areas of energy are very important when it comes to not just survival, but actually thriving in life. And this is part of the reason why when I say, well, how can we be grateful for these hard times in our life? Sometimes the natural response from the brain is, it can't. Look at what happened. This is what you experienced, and you want to avoid experiencing that again. So we're going to create this fear, this disdain, this hatred, because anything you fear, disdain, and hate, you naturally want to stay away from. However, there's another way, a better way actually, to avoid trauma altogether, and that is actually gratitude. So let's talk about gratitude for a second. Because when I say being grateful for it, we're looking at the word gratitude, and it can have many different meanings to different people. Just the same as, when I talk about trust or forgiveness or things like that, a lot of people have different definitions attached to different words. And so what I want to talk about is the definition I have for forgiveness right now. Sorry, not forgiveness, but gratitude right now. Sorry, my brain is going really fast because it gets really excited about these topics. But so let's talk about what gratitude really is. Let's define that for just a second. So what is gratitude? Gratitude to me is the ability to find joy in any situation. It's the ability to find love, to still find peace, to still find this amazing life, even though something may have just burned down around you. It's literally the emotion of the phoenix. And if you consider what the phoenix is in mythological folklore, it's this bird that literally engulfs itself in flames. All that's left of the dead bird is ashes, and a new baby bird rises from those ashes. And gratitude is like that. Sometimes life literally just engulfs you in flames. What gratitude does is it gives you the chance for rebirth, of new you. Because you're never going to go back to who you were before the trauma. You're always a new person every single day when you wake up. See, overnight, you have regained new skin cells, new blood cells, new eyeball cells, new hair, new teeth cells, you name it. The process of rejuvenation happens literally overnight. And so when I say every morning you wake up a new person, it's literally true on a cellular level. You gain new cells every single day that have not been touched yet by trauma. So what does that mean? What does that mean for you right now? Well, it basically means that you get to choose what you're going to nourish these new parts of you with. Nourishment doesn't just come from food, even though it definitely plays a huge factor. If you really seriously want to nourish yourself and heal yourself, mind, body, spirit, all of it, then definitely get yourself some raw fruits and vegetables. The colors you're looking for are purple, red, blue, and gold. Any one of the foods that are within that, or a deep green, actually, too. Let's add that in there. Those colors are actually trauma healing colors. So also, if you hang those colors a lot in your house, they help you feel the royal that is inside of you. These are actually colors that our brain is specifically designed to recognize as colors of regalness. Hence the reason why in history, the colors that often followed around someone who was royal, or the colors they wore often,
And even they would go so far as to say that nobody else can wear these colors. Are those colors purple, red, blue, and gold. Okay? So these are colors you really want to nourish yourself with, mind, body, soul, all of it. See it, eat it, feel it, wear it. It really does help to start to shift the trauma. Another thing is to engulf your senses in trauma healing techniques. So using colors, that's one thing, that's using your visual senses. It also, if you're going to eat those colors, it also uses your taste. Um, and it also helps to flood your body, especially your adrenals. And if you're dealing with trauma, your adrenals are really, really working hard right now, overworking. And so you need to supplement them with healthy glucose and healthy sugars that come from fruits of that color, to be honest. So you definitely want to do that. You can also hear healing. A wonderful thing to do is to listen to meditation music. Take some time to deep breathe and calm your body, mind, and spirit with this meditation music. To feel healing, that could look like petting a dog, petting a cat, both animals that are here to help us and support us in our emotions. You may even have a pet bird, but basically pets are there literally to help with trauma. And an idea too for like smelling, essential oils are fantastic for helping one overcome trauma. I'm so grateful for my oils. Some major recommendations I have are like the Siberian fir, that helps clean you out of trauma. Wild orange, citrus bliss, and I'm talking about doTERRA oils, by the way. I love them, love them, love them. But citrus bliss, frankincense, let's see, On Guard, tea tree. These are like there's so many, and each one actually does have some sort of an emotional property. So even if you just grab one and start using it to smell, you're not going to go wrong with using it to help you with emotional stuff. Okay? So we just talked about using your five senses to help to calm the trauma. Okay? But the other thing this does is it helps your brain to start thinking of possibilities. Is there another kind of possibility that I am missing here? Is there another way to look at this that maybe I didn't see before? See, when we are in trauma mode, it is really hard to see the things that we perceive as causing the trauma as anything else than trauma inducing. So it makes sense that our brain is going to say something along the lines of, that hurt. We don't like hurt. We want to stay away from hurt. So don't think of any other way than this just hurts. Because then it won't touch us again, right? I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the podcast. But what I want you to start asking yourself is, what are the possibilities? See, trauma will kind of teach you to think one way because it's trying to keep you safe. Your brain is very good at keeping you safe and keeping you alive. Its key purpose is to help you solve problems, keep you alive, keep you thriving, actually, and to help you avoid the things that are perceived dangerous. It takes almost a childlike wonder to help invite that gratitude in. So let me give you a story to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here. I have a little toddler. She's absolutely adorable. She's my youngest, and every single member in this household just wants to snuggle her. Like, we just love her. And she's adorable. She's so cute. But she's learning how to navigate stairs, and there have been plenty of times where she's done the boop, bloop, bloop down to the bottom on her face. Now, for an adult, we would think the stairs are bad. The stairs are scary. I need to avoid the stairs. But what does she do? She cries. She comes to me for comfort. She knows where her comfort is. And then she goes right back at it and tries it again because she's in exploratory and wonder mode. And this is what I feel like the scriptures mean when they're talking about being childlike. It's to know where to go for comfort when you have totally just fallen on your face, and to still get back out there and explore with wonder and creativity and joy.
So how do you feel about boundaries? It's a legitimate question. A lot of people come to me really struggling with this concept. They often feel guilty for setting boundaries, or they're not sure about even what a boundary is. You know, they've heard the term, set the boundary, things like that, but that's really confusing for them because it's not something that's well taught in our society nowadays, right? They know that boundaries are really important to having healthy, constructive, supportive, and wonderful relationships, but why? And oftentimes they also know that they feel like their boundaries are being violated, but they can't quite pinpoint what the boundary is that's being violated. That's why I've created the Clarifying and Creating Your Boundaries free PDF. You can find out what your boundaries are, how to tune in to what the boundary needs to be, and how to effectively create and communicate your boundary so that way you stay in this place that respects you, respects the other person, but also gives you the confidence in your boundaries so that way you stop being gaslighted, disrespected, and unseen. Having your boundaries really clear gives you a voice and also helps the other person stay in accountability with themselves. So that's not a role that you have to take on anymore. So if you are ready to really have clear boundaries, to really understand what your role is in the boundary, and to give yourself some safety and some protection against people that might try to gaslight you or are just being disrespectful, go grab my Creating and Clarifying Your Boundary PDF at erinandersonthetraumacoach.com. And while you're there, let's schedule a call with me. Come have a chat with me so that way I can really, really help you master this particular skill, creating boundaries, clarifying the boundary, communicating that boundary, and so that way I can also help you have relationships that show up to support you, cherish you, and love you.
And this is where the gratitude comes in. I think about my little baby girl and how she is so grateful for the ability to walk and, even crawl a little bit because she can keep up with her brothers and sister a bit more now. She doesn't have to be packed everywhere. She has a little bit more independence because she's trusting her legs. She's grateful for those legs and what those legs are bringing her right now, and the ability to wonder and to explore. And I love watching her do those things. So the scar that falling down the stairs has left on my little one is very minimal. She doesn't really have emotional scars. She doesn't really have a lot of damage from those stairs because she knows where her comfort is. The thing that causes emotional damage is when I'm not there to comfort her, or when a older sibling is not there to comfort her. When there is no comfort, that is when it becomes the most traumatic for her. So she's also very grateful for that ability to gain some comfort. So let's take a look at that for a second. Where can we always find comfort? Now, if you're Christian and listening to this podcast, you already know the answer, right? I mean, I look at where I found my comfort, where I had to turn to. I look at my little one. When she needs comfort from me, she comes to me with open arms and a tear-stained face and some sniffles. And she just lets me gather her up in my lap, put my arms around her, and she just snuggles right into me, as she calms down. And then she pops her little head off of my shoulder and she's right back out at exploring. And I'm just in awe and in love with her even more. We can do the same thing to God. I really do feel like He's the kind of Father that wants us to toddle on over to Him after we've just had a fall down the stairs, tear-stained and sniffling, arms wide out, as He scoops us up, puts us in His lap, and lets us just snuggle into Him until we're ready to be released and exploring again. And it makes a big difference because exploration and wonder and creation are the keys to living a thriving life. And when things don't go the way we expected them to, or somebody maybe has caused trauma for us, or some sort of situation has caused trauma, we need that comfort, and we often don't see that comfort in ourselves first. It's always a good idea to have a stronger, more sturdy source of comfort our way, so we can actually be grateful for the trauma because it gives us a godly cuddle if we're willing to receive it. So that's kind of a big piece to, healing from trauma, is what are you really ready to receive? What are you willing to accept right now when it comes to these traumatic moments? Are you willing and ready to receive beauty, comfort, love? And are you willing to turn to a God who is ready to give those things? If the answer is no, well, good news for you. He has also put other things in this world to give that kind of stability and comfort to you. It just takes a lot more of it, longer, etc. I am not opposed to hugging a tree. Tree hugger, right? So, but no, nature really actually does have soothing, healing, comforting properties to it. There's a reason why when you go out in nature, you feel better. It's because it is literally surrounded with healing energy and rejuvenating energy. It's surrounded with beauty and a place for you to actually be grateful for every little rock, stream, tree, and canopy. It's a place for you to find peace and gratitude. So that's significant. You can do even more, though, and find gratitude and comfort in both your Heavenly Father and in His beautiful creation of nature. And doing that gives you a more well-rounded healing because you're overloading your five senses with peace in nature, and you're overloading your spiritual senses with peace when you envision yourself literally snuggling up to God and crying in His shirt and just allowing Him to show up for you and comfort you and be peaceful there. So we can be grateful for these trials by realizing the direction that it can take you should you allow it to take you there. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about, something that's happening right now in my life, and how gratitude is playing a big part in not just keeping the trauma brain away, because trauma is always there. It's something that we deal with on a daily basis. We're always having some sort of onslaught with trauma, to be honest. And it could be a minimal trauma to a big trauma, but trauma is always present. Our mindset makes the difference of whether or not we're going to take what is given to us on a daily basis and consistently find joy, love, and peace. So another story, the thing that we're going through right now is some insurance battles. My husband was in a car crash with a semi, and I may have even mentioned this on an earlier episode of a podcast, but he was in a crash with a semi a few weeks ago, and now the insurance is refusing to pay for that crash, claiming all kinds of different claims. However, what's made me really grateful for this particular trial in my life is seeing the friends that are coming out of the woodworks to support us and to get in our corner and to help fight this battle with us. And I will be honest, I don't love the fight. I would much rather be able to look at this and be able to care for this without a fight, but sometimes that's not always possible. Sometimes to get the things we need out of life, we do need to make sure that we stand up and say no. That is not something that's going to work for me. And I feel like we can do something even better than that, which is what we're doing right now. We're literally setting a boundary and saying, no, we're not going to settle for that. And luckily, I have a lot of really good friends that are getting in our corner and willing to fight this with us. What a beautiful thing. Like, I'm so grateful for this situation actually that we're going through. It's not fun, but man, am I seeing some beautiful humans coming out of the woodworks and watching so many people have our back. It's truly inspiring and so wonderful. That, and also looking inside of ourselves for a bit and realizing, whoa, this is not a result that we were hoping for. This is not something that we wanted in our lives. So we get to look internally and ask ourselves, what is it inside of me that is out of harmony and out of alignment with this result? Like, what is it that I'm not in harmony with myself for that caused something like this? See, the cool thing about gratitude is it gives you also a piece of ownership. And when you have ownership, you also have a sense of control over your life. See, we don't want to try to control other people because we're trying to own their life at that point and their decisions and everything about what they're doing, and that just gets exhausting. I don't like being in that place. I don't know anybody that does. But when you look inwards and you say, I did not want this result, what is it about me that needs to change so that way I can get that result? It's a wonderful opportunity for us to do some check-in and to ask ourselves, like, what is it in our mindset and our energies in our heart that's creating some of this? Because the cool thing is to be one with God basically means that we don't stop our creative abilities just because there's a trauma. You know, I fully believe that God is not exempt from hard times. As a matter of fact, I mean, we are His children. He watches us go through some really awful times. And I don't believe that He's unaffected by that. I think He hurts right along with us, but in the same time, He's feeling immense joy. To be one with Him is the ability to look at our current situation and see the possibilities. There's not just one possibility. There's so many different roads that will get you to a beautiful, peaceful, and relaxing destination. There's so many different ways, different vehicles to get to that destination. So how do we become grateful for the things that are hard in our lives? We need to look at the possibilities, and gratitude is literally the door to get to open up those possibilities to us. When we can look at it and say, well, that was the soggy box, But inside of that soggy box is just this beautiful, beautiful jewel for me. What do I get to learn? What can I actually experience now? And how can I be an even more fantastic human from this? It changes everything. All right, my loves. I'm really excited to see what you do with this week's coaching. And next week we're actually going to be talking about how gratitude plays into the relational tiers and how it helps us build better relationships. So stay tuned for that episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, fabulous listener. I have a question for you. How done with trauma are you? Are you ready to uplevel your life and start creating the dreams that you thought were out of your reach? Are you ready to be free of the choices of other people? Are you ready to start living a life for yourself and creating the dreams that you want? And are you ready to start attracting relationships that show up to support those dreams? Are you also ready to create an amazing and deep love and trust in yourself and your decisions? If this is an absolute yes, then I want to invite you to come and join my 7-day Unashamed Chalk Talk. In this 7-day course, we are going to be going over each one of the 7 pillars for living an unashamed and completely self-trustful life. You will have some very quick, very concise, but powerful assignments to do every day. Plus, you also get access to me live for 7 days. You are going to get to learn how to set the goals that you want to achieve in your life completely unashamed, and also how to figure out what it is that's out of alignment in your life and stopping you from achieving those goals. Then we're going to get into how to get your brain to actually listen to the things that you want and start working on creating them. And also how to give yourself permission to truly love and care for yourself in an amazingly, fabulously fun way. And also how to regain the confidence and love that you deserve to give yourself, despite what anyone else thinks, says, or does about you. Now I can almost hear you say, okay, well that sounds great, but how much does it cost? That is also an exciting part of this. It's only $97. How awesome is that? For only $97, you can start creating the changes you want. There's literally no reason for you to not click on the link in the description below and get started. Come join me today in the Unashamed Chalk Talk, and I'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today and listening in on this podcasting episode. Don't forget to tune in next week. It's gonna